Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR 2. Iceland just announced that every Icelander over the age of 18 automatically become organ donors, with ability to opt out. How do you feel about this? As long as the ability to opt out is easy and evident. I don't care. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes everyone. I really did not expect my opinion to be appreciated by so many people. I did read most of the comments and responded to some. It seems a lots of people can't think of a reason to opt out. The only answer I have to that is everyone has their own view on life and may have different views than the majority. I think that if you opt out you should also be disqualified from receiving an organ donation. Seems fair. Edit. Lol at the amount of selfish pricks trying to justify their selfishness. I welcome your downvotes and gratefully accept them. Nom nom motherfrickers. I feel like that's the mindset of most people. They just don't care, so might as well do something useful. There is an interesting book called Nudge which discusses decision architecture. Basically, you can manipulate people into making the decisions that you want them to make by changing the order in which options are presented or by making your desired option the default. It's really interesting, and this is one of the prime examples that the author uses. Countries that have opt-out systems versus opt-in systems have significantly higher donor rates because people simply don't opt out. Maybe I'm a moron, but why would someone opt out? I'm not looking forward to donating one day, but why not keep someone else alive if possible? Some people believe that if a doctor knows you're a donor they may not try as hard to save you and use you for parts. Important to clarify, this is very much not the case. Doctors do not know about your donor status, and organs are not harvested until death or true brain death has occurred. I've also always wondered at this: why would a doctor neglect one patient to the point of death to harvest their organs to save another patient? That's sort of taking the long way around to save a life when they could have just treated the first guy. Edit. Yes, everyone. Yes, you can save more than one person with a single human's worth of organs. Thank you for explaining. It's super easy. You do it online. I just tried it, and after signing into the site with two-factor ID, it was literally 4 clicks. I didn't actually register as a non-donor. Just checked how it's done. Thing is that a lot of old people can't just opt out online. I'm not against the idea. I'm playing devil's advocate here. But this discussion was created in Holland about 2 years ago. People didn't like the government deciding for them this way. They didn't want to be forced to act if they wanted their body to remain their own. Most old people's organs aren't that good anymore because of the mileage on them. I don't know, if they're serviced annually, and have regular oil and filter changes they should be okay. We don't want your kidney. You're 104 years old. Yeah, but it's all highway years. This doesn't mean old people don't feel violated by such a law. Yet we can decide on what women do with their bodies. In the abortion debate there's a third party at stake, namely the fetus. The argument is that the fetus' right to life trumps the woman's right to bodily autonomy. You might not agree with that argument. Doesn't give you license to completely misrepresent the issue. Can you opt out from specific organs? Yes. Also super easy. There are 3 options: donate, default, donate. Except for specific organs, there's a text box where you list the organs, and don't donate. They are only allowed to have one testicle. The other is sacred. They're not getting lefty. What of old righty? Surely he'd be missed. They're a package deal. Both must go to the same person. You know exactly how Reddit feels about that crap. These "how do you feel" questions about popular opinions need to be banned. Op has just made a post for the sole purpose of farming karma. How do you feel about this? You know exactly how Reddit feels about that crap. Op has just made a comment for the sole purpose of farming karma. How do you feel about this? Getting really tired of these Reddit. How would you feel about X scenario that has been vehemently supported, opposed on this site since its inception? Questions. Your Reddit. How would you feel about a law banning things that are bad, plus 20000 karma instantly? Reddit. How would you feel if everyone who wanted a puppy got a puppy and everything they needed to take care of it, and the puppies get to live long happy lives with their new friends? Edit. I really appreciate all the contrarian buttholes. Really feels like an AskReddit thread. Thanks guys. 3. Edit. Also appreciate the people who can't read the question and think the puppies are mandatory or they're for scumbags. Waste of taxpayers' money if you ask me. Redditors of Reddit. How would you feel about politicians no longer being corrupt? The North Korean government shutting down and a cure for cancer? Meh. But what if we took loot boxes out of video games? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. Holy freaking crap. A bad, which a good, UPVOTES to the left. I've always said that this should be the way. I got an extra 13 years with my dad thanks to someone else's heart. Edit. I'm going to do my best to get back to every responder to this comment. It's almost exactly a year to the day that my dad died. And you've, mostly, all made me tear up with your comments and stories. If you want to be an organ donor, make sure your family knows about it now. Father steals man's heart to spend 13 more years with son. People freaking dying. As long as I can still taxidermy my body when I'm dead, they can have my organs. Right. I want to be stuffed and mounted next to a giant beaver. Nice beaver. Thanks. I just had it stuffed. I want to be stuffed and given a lion head. I first read that as I want to be stuffed giving a lion head and I'm now relieved. Edit. Oh yay, my first gold. Thanks. Glad my top comment is about something as weird as this lol. Not as relieved as the lion. I'm with Sean Locke on organ donation. Go for it as long as all my organs go to the same person. So it is less of a donation and more of a hostile takeover. If more than 50% of your body is transplanted into someone else, you'll absorb their consciousness into your own and take over the new body. It's science. I'd love to see a film or a book with that concept. I can vaguely remember a thriller, horror movie where a girl gets an eye transplant and gets scary visions from the eyes of the donator. Edit. The girl in the movie is Jessica Alba and the movie is called The Eye. 2008. Did they steal that from The Simpsons? Where Homer gets a hair transplant in a treehouse of horror and becomes Snake. Actually, it goes back further than that, the Treehouse of Horror segment. Treehouse of Horror IX from 1998 was inspired by an Amazing Stories episode Hell to Pay from 1986. Directed by Empire Strikes Back Elmer Irvin Kershner, though admittedly a weak episode, with a largely similar plot of A Haunted to Pay, which was itself in turn inspired by a great Twilight Zone episode Dead Man's Shoes from 1962, about a pair of haunted shoes taking over a homeless man's life. There was also an X-Files episode of A Haunted Tattoo, Never Again, from 1997, with a similar premise where the tattoo has its own personality, voiced by Jodie Foster, no less, and makes the wearer do things. The Eye is notably different in the sense that the protagonist doesn't act like the original person the eyes belong to. It just makes her see ghosts as the eye came from a psychic. My organs are free for all if anyone needs them. Alright, please lie down over there. Take lungs now, gills come in 2 weeks. Edit. First ever gold is because of Futurama. Awesome. Wait, that says Z-ray not X-ray. Smart idea. If you care enough to not be an organ donor, you can just opt out. This just increases the pool by adding the folk who don't care. I do believe there should be a clause added for those who could not reasonably be asked to give consent in the first place. When I die, I'm seriously thinking of going the donate my body to science route. Would be comforting to think I'm being of some use. And if my family wants a part to cremate or bury, they can have foot or something. This is what my grandmother did. You get more than a foot or something. I'm not sure what's permanently removed, not my field. I do know it took about 3 years before we got ashes to bury, so they take their time with the cadaver. That's for sure. I'm the one who actually laid the ashes in the ground. Never forget it. She liked beer and chocolate, so we all had a bit of that at the service in rural Nova Scotia. Upper Stewiacke, with about 15 people in plain clothes. No preacher or strangers. Anyway, don't know why I got into all of that. I don't know, my heart's just not in it. Edit. On a serious note, it's a great idea. I dunno either, just a guts feeling, probably. Edit. I too think it's a great idea. I'm gonna be dead. Don't care what happens to my organs at that point. It's a dick move. Edit. Great idea! Exclamation mark. There seems to be this weird stigma that people have where they think that if they're an organ donor and the folks see that when trying to save their life, that for whatever reason they'll half-butt it so they can get their organs. I've never understood it, but this seems like a good way to handle that. Let people choose not to be helpful post-mortem instead of them having to choose to be. Yes, it's a BS argument to say that doctors will let you die to harvest organs, but wouldn't let the transplant candidates die for their organs. Doctors are trying to save everybody, not picking and choosing who gets to live. They won't let you die when they could save you. There's no guarantee the organs will be a match or successful in transplantation. Plus they open themselves up to criticism if every patient they attend to dies in a organ donation isn't using you as an organ factory. It's saying, well, they died, but they were willing to save people with the organs they no longer need. So let's honor their wish and not let their death be in vain. When I was learning to drive, my parents warned me over and over that they're going to ask if I want to be an organ donor when I get my license, and I need to be sure to say no or else I'll just be left to die if I ever get injured and go to a hospital, because it will make them lots of money to harvest me. That's nonsense, of course. They'd let me die because I don't have insurance. It's interesting, because this is actually very similar to their state church system. Icelanders are automatically registered as a member of their mother's church upon birth and have to opt out if they don't want to be registered as a church member. My Icelandic friends and I call it Christian by default. Leads to a lot of interesting cultural and religious views of what it means to be religious or not. Most people don't unregister, but just never go to church. And the churches registered with the government still receive money from the state for anyone registered as congregants, members. Churches receive roughly $7 per month per registered individual, regardless if they regularly attend or not. Only in recent years have people started to actually bother unregistering from their churches. I disagree. Bodily autonomy means the default position should be that you have complete control over your own body, not that it's public property unless you say otherwise. I'm 100% in favor of everyone being an organ donor. But that is a decision that you should opt into, not out of. Edit. A surprisingly large number of you have condescendingly decided that because I don't agree with you, I must be lacking some fundamental understanding about how life works. We've had this in Wales since 2015. I can't remember anyone disagreeing with it. Unpopular opinion, but I do not like it. I am all for organs going to those that need it, and I would hate for organs to decompose and go to waste. But I am very much against the notion that you are automatically subscribed to becoming an organ donor. This would suggest they would have an automatic claim over your body unless you opt out. I principally believe that they do not and should not have any claim to my organs and body unless I willingly opt myself in. Forgive me, but what's the point of, not having people automatically be organ donors? People's bodies are their own personal property and permission should be given before taking organs, even in death. Thanks for watching LWIAR 2. The best of all time r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out the original LWIAR channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe.